as I'm filming this or recording it, that we're having a wonderful thunderstorm going on outside. So if you can hear those sound effects in the background, I didn't plan that, but I couldn't have planned it any better. Because talking about ABC TV's Dark Shadows, there was always a thunderstorm going on in the background. This is an unusual video. How can a person do archaeology based on a television show that actually went off the air way back in 1971? Actually, it went off on my birthday, April 2nd, 1971. Saddest birthday I ever had. But can a fictional TV show even have an archaeological background to look at? I think it can, and let's take a look. If you're not familiar with Dark Shadows, there are a few out there I guess that aren't, just a little background. It was set in a small and remote coastal village of Maine named Collinsport, and the main locations were Collinwood, a huge mansion built in the later part of the 1700s. Another location was the old house, the original home of the Collins family, and it was also the home of vampire Barnabas Collins, who was truly a cultural phenomenon in the United States from about 1967 through 1970, when the program shifted to another time band where the show ended its run, and Jonathan Frid, who played Barnabas Collins, played Bramwell Collins, nowhere near as popular as the Barnabas character. But both of these houses were located on the Collins estate, which in part sits on a high cliff overlooking the ocean. And one of those high points was known as Widow's Hill, and it played a major role in various storylines, and usually it was a tragic role. In the show, symbols played a significant part, such as the Naga altar in the Leviathan storyline. The Naga carved in the ancient stone by an ancient race of people that predated the Native American people, that predated the Ice Ages, that even predated creation. So, in other words, they were very, very ancient. There could be archaeology done there, and I'll be doing a follow-up video on the Leviathan people. But fictional archaeology, true, but it would be quite fascinating nonetheless. There are symbols used in almost every storyline that was ever on Dark Shadows, except maybe in the very early episodes before it became a truly gothic cult soap opera. I found what can only be described, though, as an ancient face effigy on Widow's Hill that was there only for background ambience, but I wonder were there plans to use it in a storyline that was unused. It is obvious to have, too obvious to have been just there by happenstance. I have to believe that Cy Tomashoff, who I believe was doing the stage settings at that time, knew what he was doing when he included that in there. If you want to check it out, it's in episode 462, and this where this enigmatic face can be found. Victoria Winters, by this point in the series, was played by Betsy Durkins, and she was on Widow's Hill, about to leap to her death due to her love for Peter Bradford, also known in that era as Jeff Clark, something that she thought could never come to fruition because he was from 1795 and she was from the 1960s. As she's walking into the scene, on the left side is a large stone with a crude face and an elongated body. Now, from real-world experience, I can tell you that stone effigy carvings that look like this are not that uncommon. Here's an effigy, a photo of an effigy I found on a late woodland site here in Saginaw, Michigan. Now, this would date the artifact about 500 to 1400 years ago, unless it had been there during a prior occupation. So it would go to the late woodland, but that site had been occupied for many thousands of years to the Archaic period. There are many similarities to this to the stone effigy on Widow's Hill, and the formation of the eyes you'll see, the somewhat squared nose and the mouth are very, very similar. Following are a series of photos showing other effigies similar to the ones that we see in episode 462 of Dark Shadows. The first one is from Reedsburg, Wisconsin, and is most similar of any of these. In this sequence are several others from the Great Lakes area of Upper Michigan. So could we extrapolate that the pre-European inhabitants of what would one day be Collinwood have some connection to those people of the Great Lakes? The evidence as it stands would be compelling, but of course not conclusive. But being fiction could make it be anything we wanted it to be. Still, it's fun to think that the storyline concerning the Widow's Hill effigy was being mulled behind the scenes. After all, a week or so before Barnabas Collins actually made his first appearance in the storyline, his portrait could be seen hanging in the foyer of Collinwood. Could another scenario like that have been planned, where you're given just a teaser look at something that was to come? I think it would be rather fun and rather interesting to have seen what might have been a storyline based on that ancient effigy figure. I sent a letter to the editor. Oh, wait a minute. In fact, when Dark Horse Comics, back in the early 1990s, did the comic adaptation of the Dan Curtis Dark Shadows revival series on NBC TV, they had something like this in mind. I sent a letter to the editor suggesting a storyline that would show part of the reason that so many horrible things happened at and around Collinwood and Collinsport were the results of some Native American curse. Now, I received a response, and my letter was printed in that last issue of the comic book. Now, they said that they were considering a storyline similar to that, and that it would likely be used in the future. Of course, the comic book stopped publishing the title with that very issue that my letter appeared in. So, what might have been. Now, most everyone who believes in Bigfoot relates them in one way or another to the Native American culture. To close this fanciful look at what might have been, I want to share this image with you. It is a composite I made a while back showing the phantom specter of Bigfoot haunting the hallowed halls of Collinwood in the foyer. Well, as I just said, in this case, the foyer. Well, that's all I have, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Please let me know your thoughts and comments. I always love hearing them from you. And as I said, there will be a follow-up video to this pertaining just exclusively to the Leviathans and the Naga. And there's some interesting mythology behind that. But there's also a lot of interesting mythology and possible archaeology behind that figure in episode 462. And I believe that it most likely would have related to the Native American people that would have been live in that part of Maine in the days before the first Europeans arrived. Thank you for watching. God bless y'all. Love each and every one of you. Look forward to hearing from you. See you real soon.